Sexism is an issue that affects everybody, and each person has a story about that effect. This is my story. From the very start, we are all automatically sorted into two categories, boy or girl. At first, these seem like nothing but the names of genders, but when you examine all that comes with these words, you can see that they hold so much more. We've all been programmed to know that boy babies are dressed in blue, and girl babies are dressed in pink, or that boys play with trucks and girls play with dolls. It's what we've been taught by our parents, and then by their parents, and so on and so forth. Like many others, my parents conformed to these gender norms when it came to raising me. I was always wearing pink or purple. I always got the Barbie dolls for Christmas instead of the Hot Wheels cars. I was always expected to be sweet and sensitive, and I wasn't allowed to play fight with my brothers and my other male cousins. It wasn't until middle school that I started to question these gender norms, when I got more into extracurricular activities. I was at a point in my life where all I wanted to do was rebel, so I decided to join all the things that my mother didn't want me to join. Instead of ballet, I joined hip-hop. Instead of piano, I learned to play the drums. The only thing that my parents wanted me to join that went against social norms was karate. The karate may be an exception because I later found out that I was forced to join karate because I was more likely to get abused or raped because I am a girl. On the topic of rape, it wasn't really something that I gave much thought to until that time in my life. It was always this nightmare that I knew I would never likely encounter, like it was the plague or something. My mom was always very straightforward, and when she told me that the chances of me getting raped was a bigger possibility than I thought, it still didn't really sink in. It wasn't until my body started going through puberty and the wrong guys were starting to notice that it hit me. Rape can happen to me, or to a friend, or to a family member, or anyone. My proof was the old dudes catcalling me from the cars starting from when I was 12 years old. Not only was I repulsed at that age, I was completely terrified. If a man can harass me from his car, what would he do if he got out of his car? At one point, when I was 13, a man did come out of his car. He started out catcalling me while driving. Then he slowed down to trail behind me while I was walking, and I sped up to get up to the bus stop. When I got there, the bus still hadn't come, and the man in the car pulled over and got out of the car and approached me. Thankfully, he didn't get too close before the bus came, but it was one of the most eye-opening and terrifying experiences I've ever had in my life. To this day, I still walk out of the house every day wary of who looks at me wrong or who whistles while I walk, because you never know when that situation will repeat itself. Every time I wear something tight or revealing, I get self-conscious because I know men will react a certain way. But I've learned to let myself live for me and have the confidence to wear what I want despite whoever may be watching me while I walk down the street. I've come to the realization that sexism is a huge problem that affects me in so many more ways than just rape culture. Sexism affects my education, my career, the way I'm portrayed in the media, and so much more. Sexism is being told to wear longer shorts than 35 degrees because I may distract boys from their learning. Sexism is the 23 cents less that I would make in a private sector job working at the same level as a man. Sexism is the way women are considered weak and unable to do anything but breed children and spend a man's money. Sexism is when being called a girl is an insult, but being called the man is a compliment. Sexism is everywhere, and it affects everyone. Sexism is one of those world issues that seeps into every other world issue in terms of social justice as a whole. I particularly see this because not only am I female, I am black, and I am a bisexual. Not only do I face the adversities of being female, but being a black female makes me even more susceptible to discrimination. I am the one they don't want for the job. I am the ghetto loud one. I am unable to have colored hair and piercings because on a white girl it's cute, but on a black girl it's trashy. Being bisexual, however, it works a little differently. For women, being gay or bi is actually more easily accepted in society than it is for men. The only reason for this is because women are constantly being oversexualized, and therefore a lesbian couple is open to extreme oversexualization. One may think this works to my benefit, but it doesn't, when straight boys assume that because I'm bisexual, I would have no problem engaging in sexual activities with a girl and them at the same time, purely for their entertainment. Either way you swing it, every aspect of my life is affected by sexism. This world that we live in is definitely not perfect, and it never will be. However, that doesn't mean we as a society have no reason to work to make it a better place to live for everyone. The problem is, there are multiple issues happening in the world in terms of social justice, and more people are treating some of these problems as bigger issues than others. In reality, however, every social inequality issue that this world has is directly connected to another social inequality issue, and there is absolutely no way we can just focus on one of these issues. Not only does this intersectionality pan across the isms, it can be explored within specific isms, sexism being a main example. We can look at different areas of sexism through the different areas of the world. Sexism on the Eastern Hemisphere being more about a woman's right to education and female babies being aborted because they are considered a burden, whereas sexism on the Western Hemisphere being more about school dress codes, slut-shaming, and media portrayal. Although the issues about sexism are very different on either side of the world, each and every argument that fights against sexism is valid. Oppression is not a competition, and it's time the world started realizing that so that we can work together to solve our world issues. To touch on some of the issues that we as a Western society and I personally experience, I'd like to talk first about stereotypes. I believe that it is this that birthed all gender inequality problems we face today. Females are categorized into many different things by society: slut, prude, overly emotional, or superficial, and for those who don't fit those categories, they're called bitches. These are the categories that women are portrayed as through the media, and because of this, it is very difficult to break these stereotypes because they are reinforced everywhere we go. These stereotypes make it seem like women are less able to do things that men do, like construction work or high positions of power in business, and are used as justification for the inequality in society amongst genders. In addition, apparently not only women are talking about sexism, feminism, misogyny, and misandry, and what those things really mean. Men have their own opinions about the feminist movement, some for and some against. There are men who really see the imbalances in the world between genders, and there are others who don't see it. For those who don't understand, it works the same way white privilege does. Those who have privilege don't see what it's like for those who don't. Because most men don't realize there is a problem, they get annoyed when people talk about it, or they feel victimized because of it. The way to stop men from feeling this way, and to actually realize what is going on in the world, is to educate men on what sexism is, how feminists are trying to advocate for equality amongst all genders, and that this advocacy for equality benefits everyone, men and women. It is this reason that I decided to identify myself as a feminist, regardless of the negative connotations that are associated with the word. I believe that there should be equality for all, and that the only way to achieve this is to start working together to end sexism. At this point, we've come a far way from what women's rights used to be, but there's still a far way to go, and I hope to live to see the day that I am considered of equal value to society as a man. In addition, I believe that gender equality needs to be achieved throughout all genders, and not just cisgendered people. Though I fit into the cisgender category, I believe intersectionality plays a role here as well, because you can't fight for one gender's equality and not all the others. It would make no sense. I hope that society will one day come to realize that discrimination of any form is wrong and a waste of everyone's time, because our inability to collaborate and work as one unit is holding us back as a human race.